Let's roll. Find your way onto your mat. So, that got nice and bright. So, tonight we are going to work with this sense of feeling alive. And, when you say that or when you hear that in a yoga class, you might think power yoga, lots of movement, holding, burning, things like that, but that's not necessarily what we're going for here. We're actually going for this awakening your inner senses to feel alive from within, no matter what you're doing, and particularly in space, because that's what my practice has been, creating this relationship with open space, right? The space you create in your life. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna experiment with feeling alive in open and still space. So lie down on your back here. And if you're new to our Wednesday night practice, I pretty much do the whole thing with you. So if you ever get confused, you can always just look at me. And when you get onto your back here, just take a few moments to release your back body into your mat, whatever that means. If you need to take a stretch, if you need to find stillness and let everything sink. And once you do find that stillness, let's take some deep breaths here. Pulling them in through the nose, out through the nose. If you want your first few to be in through the nose, out through the mouth, so you can really calm down the nervous system, be my guest, go right ahead. We're just finding our calm state here. We're finding our breath. And if you haven't already, let your eyes close. And let your eyes be heavy in their sockets. And I want you to draw your awareness to your solar plexus. So your solar plexus is like right underneath the rib cage, right above your belly button. So that space between the bottom of your rib cage and your belly button, it's right in the middle of that. It's within your body, and it's your sense of power, right? It's the chakra, the healing center, the power, the channel of inner power, inner strength. And the color of that chakra is yellow. So just imagining from the inside, so going within your body, this yellow light, right at your solar plexus. Starting to breathe deeper into that space. And noticing how that space feels for a moment. And however that space feels, noticing how alive that feeling is. So whether you had a positive notion, a negative notion, or a really in the middle, indifferent description for your solar plexus and how it felt, notice the aliveness of that space within you. Let's reach our arms up overhead. Point your toes here. Take a full body stretch. Lengthen. Point those toes. Reach through the fingertips. Imagine that your head is moving further away from your torso. And very gently pull your knees in toward your chest. Give yourself a tight hug here. A big old squeeze. Maybe allow the corners of your mouth to turn up for a moment, sending yourself a little bit of a smile, a little bit of love. Find some movement here. Just a gentle rock side to side. Let's pull the right knee in towards our chest as we send the left leg long. Give it a big old squeeze in. Finding your twist. So drag that knee across the body over to the left. You can look out towards your right. Allowing the heart to stay open towards the ceiling and allowing for that right shoulder to melt down towards the ground. Even if it doesn't touch, the energy is melting down. And switch. We'll bring it through center. Hug your left knee in, send your right leg all the way out. Squeeze that left knee in. Breathing into our hip here. And find your twist. Drag that knee over towards the right. Left arm out towards the left and heart faces towards the ceiling. Bring it through center. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a tight squeeze. And take your knees a little bit further away from you and allow the shins to be parallel towards the ceiling here. So you can feel your abs kick in a little bit, your core kick in. Reach your arms straight up towards the sky. Take your right hand towards your right knee, but that knee is staying exactly where it is. We're not pulling the knee in, we're taking the hand onto the knee and allowing the left leg to extend down towards the bottom of your mat. Let the heel hover. It could be a few inches, it could be a few feet. Come back through center with your shins parallel to the ceiling, arms up. Left hand, left knee. Send your right leg down. You might want to point the toes here so you can use the power in the legs. Bring it back up through center. Yep, we're doing a little bit of core here. Right hand, right knee. Send the left leg out. Pull it back through center. So let's just get the motion down for a moment. Left hand, left knee. Right leg out. Hover that heel. Bring it back in. Bring it through center. Now connecting our breath here. As you take your right hand to your right knee and extend the left leg, we're finding a big inhale. So inhale that left leg out. Exhale to do the work to pull it back in. Left hand, left knee, right leg out. Inhale. Full exhale to pull it back in. Yep, we're doing some core here. Keep going. I feel like you'd rather me sneak it in the beginning than in the end, because then it's like you're winding down and you're like, oh no. We're in the beginning and you get it over with. It's good. Keep it going. Really focus on connecting your breath to your movement. And a lot of time with core work, we want to swiftly go through it, but the idea here is that we're moving slow and intentional. You have 10 more breaths. And if you want to feel the burn a little bit more, let that heel hover an inch over your mat so you can really feel the pull back in. Inhale out. Exhale in. For 5. For 4. For 3. Keep going. For 2. Last one. Hug your knees in towards your chest and start to draw circles with the knees on the ceiling. So pushing the knees away from you, pulling them back in. Start to rock yourself front and back here. If it's not okay on your spine, just completely skip this part. But if it might feel good to rock up and down the spine, maybe you come to a plow pose with your feet over your head, totally optional. Here we go. As you rock it forward all the way onto your feet. Use your hands to assist. We're coming into a toe squat here. So come up onto your toes, heels are lifted, and just kind of round over your legs here, round over your knees. And don't worry so much about the transition if the whole rock up thing didn't work for you. It's fine. Close your eyes, let your head drop. into a forward fold. Let your heels drop down as you lengthen your hips towards the sky. Heel toe your feet hip distance apart. Bend the knees a little bit. Find that sweet, gracious forward fold. Maybe you sway the torso side to side. Maybe you start to get naked and take layers off. Let your heels be heavy as the hips reach towards the ceiling here, so you can really feel that stretch in the backs of the legs. We're looking for a deep stretch and deep sensation, but not pain. So if you recognize pain, if you recognize the aliveness of pain, I want you to bend your knees a little bit more. Let your chin coil to your chest. Bend your knees a little bit more before you start to roll yourself up to stand. Take your time here. Allow your spine to truly stack slower than you want to go. Rolling open your shoulders at the top and finding this Tadasana pose. Arms by your sides, heart is lifted. We're going to go ahead and close our eyes for a moment. Taking your hands to prayer at your heart center, lift your heart up to your thumbs and press your thumbs back into your chest, back into your heart space. Taking one Om here to really activate our vocal cords and our top chakras. If Om's not your thing, of course you don't have to do it, but if you're just like stepping into the whole Om world, you still may feel like you're joining a cult, but I invite you to, instead of Om, try like the letter M. Just keep going. So wherever you are, whatever you're choosing to do, inhale deeply. Find your Tadasana pose, your mountain pose. Keep your eyes closed and just drop your arms down by your sides. Rock a little forward onto your toes, back onto your heels, and take a few moments to rock back and forth until you can find the center. This perfect distribution of weight between balls of feet, your big toe mound, and your heels. Find that center, come to stillness, let the rock slow down to a stop. Feel yourself pull up on your kneecaps. So what you're doing is you're really engaging your quadriceps, your thighs, and your kneecaps are pulling up on your legs. Start to feel the power in your legs. And as you pull your navel in towards your spine, so it's not a suck in of the stomach, it's just a tighten of the core. Feel your hips press slightly forward so that your hips are right underneath your shoulders. We're not pressing too far forward so that you feel it in the low back. Just a tightness of the core and your hips directly underneath you. Fingertips are reaching down towards the mat. Don't forget the power of the arms, shoulders away from the ears. And noticing the difference now in your body, noticing all the strength, all the engagement from head to toe in just this simple standing pose. Noticing the aliveness within you. Take 3 more deep breaths. One last deep breath. Keeping your feet planted on your mat and your legs engaged. Inhale, lift your arms all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, rain it on down, find a forward fold. Halfway lift as you breathe in, lifting your hands up to your shins or to your thighs here. We're looking for a nice long spine, this L shape with your body. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep your arms up towards the sky, lift it all the way up. Reach reaching up with your heart and grounding down with the back of your torso, your back body. Bring your hands to prayer at your heart center. Another time, inhale, lift your arms all the way up. Ground down with those heels, reach up with your heart, but relax your shoulders. Exhale, forward fold. Find a halfway lift as you breathe in, exactly as it sounds. Lift your torso halfway up as you lengthen out of low back, mid back, and upper back. Exhale, forward fold. Press into your feet, sweep your arms up towards the sky. Hands to prayer at your heart. One more time, why not? Inhale, lift your arms all the way up. Exhale, find a forward fold. Halfway lift as you breathe in. Exhale, fold. Sweep your arms all the way up towards the sky. This time, leave your arms lifted, chest is lifted. But when you lift your chest, try not to lift your shoulders. Shoulders stay relaxed. Let your right arm come down to the right, just by your side. Reach it up and over with your left arm. Reach it up and over to the right. Keep your heels heavy. If you feel a pinching in your back, just make your stance a bit wider here so your foundation is wider. You can always take your hand to your hip for more support. Bring it up through center and switch. Left hand down, right arm reaches up and over. Heavy through the heel. Bring it up through center. You can do the same thing, or if you want to challenge yourself, interlace the fingertips, pointer fingers stay up. Roll those biceps back towards the ears, reach it up and over to the right. Same thing with the feet. Wider base is a sturdier foundation. Feet together is going to be a bit more difficult, but I believe in you. I know you can do it. Lengthen out of your left hip here. Belly in. Left heel presses down. Come up through center. Up and over to the other side. Bring it over to the left. Squeeze your palms together if your arms are lifted, but remember, you can always be here if you need with your left hand down. Right heel presses down. Belly's tightened. Pull that gut in. Tighten the core. Bring it up through center. Release your hands down by your sides. And just shake out your arms for a moment. Shake out your shoulders. Let everything just kind of drop and flow and be fluid. Step towards the top of your mat if you're not already there. Inhale, lift your arms all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, find a forward fold. Rain it on down, however you choose. Find a halfway lift as you breathe in. Bring your hands down to your mat, stepping your right leg all the way back. Lower that knee down. Inhale to look forward, tenting up onto your fingertips here. We're looking for a nice long spine, so if you feel hunched over, take your hands to the top of that left knee. Wherever you are, really pressing through that left heel. We're taking a few breaths here and slowing down our sun salutation today. Imagine I taught an entire class in an accent. That would be funny for me. Take your hands down to your mat. Step it back to a plank pose. You can always lower your knees here for a modified plank if you need. We'll take 3 deep breaths. Wrists are right underneath the shoulders, and those heels are pressing back if your knees are lifted. Breathe for 2. And 1. Lower your knees down to your mat. Slowly use your arm muscles to lower chest and chin, or just upper body in one long line, however you want to do it. Inhale to peel your chest up off of your mat. Look forward as your elbows squeeze in towards your sides. Tone your belly. Pull your belly in. Point your toes. Release. Take one cheek down. Let your shoulders drop down. I'm inviting you to challenge yourself a little bit more. If you step your feet together, squeeze your heels together, point your toes, feel the kneecaps lift up off of your mat. You can already feel how engaged the legs are. Start to press your pelvis down. Keep that engagement in the quads and the thighs. Feel the engagement in the glutes as they gently squeeze together. Start to peel your chest up. Full body engagement here. Belly's pulling in, shoulders rolling away from the ears. Release. Send it back to a child's pose. Sit your hips to your heels. Stretch the arms forward here. Take a deep breath. Finding your way to downward facing dog. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips high. If you need to take a few moments to pedal out the knees and move the hips, go right ahead. What do you need? When you feel ready, right leg slides up behind you. Draw your knee in towards your nose as you step that right foot between your hands. Lower the back knee down. Same thing that you did on the other side. If you kept your fingertips down, keep your fingertips down. If you lifted your hand to the top of that knee, lift your hand on up. Pressing through that front heel. Slowly allowing your shoulders to relax. And then noticing what's going on in your jaw. Is your jaw relaxed? Is your face relaxed? Take your hands down to frame that front foot. Step your left foot up to meet your right foot. Lengthen out of your back body like a mini half lift here. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep the arms all the way up towards the sky. Lift it on up, come up to stand. Exhale, rain it right back down. Find that forward fold, let your heart spill over your legs. Halfway lift as you breathe in. Hands down towards your mat. Left leg slides all the way back. We're doing the same thing we did on the other side. Inhale to look forward. Your version's hand can be on that knee. We'll move just a little bit quicker here. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. I said a little bit, not a lot. Hands down to your mat, slide it back to a plank pose. If you want to start to challenge yourself a little bit more, step your toes together in this plank pose. Feel your hips drop down so they're in line with your shoulders. You'll feel your core engage a whole lot more. Drop your knees down to your mat, lower chest and chin. Cobra pose. Start to peel your chest up off your mat as you look forward. Remember that full body engagement. Pull up on your kneecaps, point your toes, belly pulls in. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, baby cobra. Maybe this time you feel ready for a full cobra or somewhere in between, maybe an upward dog, whatever you work with. Release, find your way to child's pose. Sit your hips back to your heels. Really reach those hips back as you reach the fingertips forward. Downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips high. Take about 2 deep breaths here. Left leg slides up behind you, knee to nose as you step the left foot between your hands. Lower the back knee down. Inhale to look forward. Your version. You know what you're working with here. Let your shoulders melt away from your ears. Your heart shine forward. Step to the top of your mat. Lengthen out of your back body. Exhale, fold. Sweep your arms all the way up towards the sky as you breathe in. Bring your hands to prayer at your heart. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Arms lift all the way up towards the sky. A little different this time. As you fold it on forward, same thing, lead with your heart. Find a bit more of a bend in the knees so you can interlace the hands behind the back. Send the fist high and let the crown of the head really drop down. Let your heels be heavy. And if this doesn't feel right in your shoulders, you can always grab opposite wrists behind your back. Release your hands down to your mat. Inhale to find a halfway lift. Exhale, lower your hands down. Step it one by one back to that plank pose. When you get there, let your hips lower just a little bit. So we're not lowering the hips so that the back body is arching and we're looking forward. We're just lowering the hips to get to that space where you really feel the core kick in. Breathe for 3, for 2, and 1. Release it on down to a child's pose. Sit your hips back to your heels. Melt the head and the heart down. And I want you to take 5 deep breaths here. You can rock your forehead side to side, but really connect with your breath. Start to breathe a little deeper. A little smoother. Last breath. Press yourself up to all fours, hands and knees for a tabletop. Making sure that your wrists are right underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hip points, finding good alignment. Inhale to find a cow pose. We're arching our spine, looking forward here. Exhale to find a cat pose. Press your mat away. Let the back body round as you drop the head between the arms. Inhale, find that cow pose, open up your heart, look forward. This time as you exhale, downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips high up towards the sky here. Start to roll it out towards a plank, and about halfway there, lower your knees down. Find a cow pose. Once again, arch the spine, look forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your hips high. We'll do that one more time. Roll it out towards a plank, about halfway there. Lower your knees down. Inhale, cow pose. Look forward. This whole time, your hands are staying in the exact same space. Exhale, downward facing dog. And ideally, your feet too, but it's okay if you need to make adjustments. Right leg slides up behind you as you breathe in. Step your right foot between your hands, however you need to get there. Back knee lowers down. This time, inhale, lift your torso up. We're gonna stay here for a few breaths. You don't need to lift your arms up right away. Maybe eventually we'll get there. But untuck those back toes, untuck the left toes. Check in with your front foot. We want that knee to be over the ankle. So if you look down at your toes, you should really only be able to see like your big toe. Heavy through that right heel. Point your left foot here so you can actually press through the top of the foot. And if you really want to challenge yourself, you can press through that left foot so much that the left knee picks up off of your mat. Take 3 deep breaths like that. Completely optional. You don't need to go there. Lowering that back knee if it's lifted. Lift your arms up towards the sky for a full Kopiasana pose. Keep the engagement in the lower half here, so nothing has changed in the pose except for your arms. Just lift your arms up. Squeezing those thighs in, squeezing your right heel down. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, let's twist to the right. I'm keeping it nice and soft this evening. If you have a twist that you want to go towards, that you're working towards, go right ahead. If you want to keep it a bit gentle, just take your left hand to the outside of your right knee and your right hand to your low back as you look over that right shoulder. Release your hands down towards your mat. Let's find a runner's stretch to come off of that right leg. Start to shift your hips back in space as you lengthen your right leg. Flex that foot here so we can really feel the stretch in the back of the right leg, and fold. Allowing your chin to come towards your chest, but we're still reaching the heart towards the toes. This is our half split pose. Tone that belly, pull the belly in. Start to walk your hands forward so you can step into that front foot. Hands come down to ground you. Just slide it on back to all fours. Find that alignment once again, wrists underneath the shoulders. Inhale to find your cat, and exhale to find, inhale to find your cow, exhale to find your cat, round the back body. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, cat pose. Why do I keep doing that? Cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. It's okay because yoga accepts 1,000% who you are, where you are, what you've gone through. Inhale, find that cow pose. This time, exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your hips high. Same thing on the other side. Left leg lifts up towards the sky. Step your left foot between your hands. Lower the back knee down, lifting your torso up. Take your time here, step by step. Think, what did you do on the other side when you first rose up? And if you went for that engaging practice, the pressing into your right foot so you can lift the right knee up. Do it here. Take those 3 deep breaths. If you didn't do that, don't do it. That left heel is pressing down as your thighs squeeze in, belly pulls in. And when you're ready, start to lift your arms up towards the sky for full Kopiasana, relaxing your back foot here. Just a little bit. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out as you twist to the left. So just taking the right hand to the outside of the left knee. If you did something else, see if you can match it on this side. Looking over your left shoulder to the best of your ability and making sure that left knee is still over the left ankle. So try not to straighten the left leg just because you're in a twist. Don't compromise the foundation. Slowly starting to release that twist. Take your hands down to your mat. Finding that half split pose. Start to shift the hips back as you lengthen your left leg as much as you can. Flex the foot so you can feel the stretch. Send your heart forward, forward, forward so you can almost feel your back body stretch out. And then just let your chin move towards your chest. So we're not trying to get nose to knee because that's really not important. Walk your hands forward. Press down with your palms. Slide it back to all fours once again. Inhale to find a cow pose. Open up your heart. Exhale, bring it up and back. Right up and back to a downward facing dog. Lift your hips high. Roll it out to your plank pose. This time, we're lowering ourselves all the way down towards the belly. So if you want the challenge, see if you can lower down in one nice long line. If you don't want the challenge, lower your knees down and lower your body however you need to. Make a pillow with your hands and just let your hips relax for a moment. You can point and wiggle the toes. Finding a Sphinx pose. In Sphinx pose, elbows are right underneath the shoulders. Find that alignment because it's really important. Palms press into your mat here. Fan out the fingers to feel that aliveness in your hands. Ignite the energy. And we've been working with engaging that low body so you can step the toes together, point the toes, feel the kneecaps pull up and those thighs really engage. But if that brings up any too much discomfort in your low back, I want you to step your feet a bit wider apart. Letting your heart open up slowly towards the space in front of you and letting your shoulders draw back. Deep breath. Slowly start to melt it down. Allow it to be slow here. Making a pillow with your hands. Once again, you can sway the hips side to side. Press yourself up to all fours. We're coming off of the knees here, just bear with me. Press it up to all fours. Inhale to find a cow pose, just like we've been doing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift the hips high. Lift the heels, bend the knees. Start to walk your feet towards your hands, finding a forward fold at the top of your mat. And take a few breaths here. Let your heart rate slow down. Find that generous bend in the knees here so we're not pulling on the wrong places. Heavy through the heels. We'll roll it up to stand just like we did in the beginning. Let the upper body drape. There's no rush to get there. If anything, the slowest person wins. Take time in this space. Find that Tadasana pose once again, that mountain pose with your arms by your sides, your heart lifting up, and your breath deep as could be. You can close your eyes once again. Allow your eyes to flutter open. Take a big step back with your right leg, opening up to a warrior two. When you step down with that back foot, let the knife edge of the foot be parallel to the back of your mat. Left toe stay facing forward. Bend into that left knee so that the knee is over the ankle. Feel the burn in your thighs here as you reach your arms out towards the sides. When you look down at your left foot, adjust that knee so that you can only see the big and second toe. Breathe into your inner left thigh. Just send some awareness there. And then press through the outer edge of your right foot, the outer edge of your back foot. And I want you to breathe into a very specific space. Breathe into the inner arch of your right foot. You can look down and look at it if you want. Deep breath in, send your breath all the way there, all the way down your back leg into the inner right arch. Breathe all the way out. Look over your left fingertips. Keep that engagement in your legs. Keep the fingertips reaching side to side here so they're engaging that upper body, but also creating space in the chest and the shoulder blades. Flip your front palm. Nothing changes in the legs, just the upper body tilts up and back here. Feel that left side reach up. Left fingertips reach up. Bring it on up through warrior two. Straighten that front leg, coming to a Trikonasana pose. Shift your hips on back here. And actually, before you come into your Trikonasana pose, your right toes that are pointing out towards the right, scooch them to point towards the top of your mat just a little bit. Not anything dramatic, just a little bit. Shift your hips towards the back of your mat here. Start to feel the stretch on that inner left leg. Left hand comes down to left shin, right arm up towards the sky. And allow your right hip, the front of your right hip bone, to drop down to face towards the floor just a little bit and not too much. You'll feel a little bit more space in your pelvis area. You'll feel a little bit more space to shift the hips back and lengthen the side of the body when you do that. And if you want the challenge, you can release your left hand as the kickstand and really use your core to hold yourself there. Breathe for 3. Belly in for 2. And 1. Press into your feet, rise all the way up. Turn all 10 toes to face the wide edge of your mat. Bring your hands to your hips, lift your heart on up. Pull your elbows back so your heart can really stick out here. Your heart can really elevate. Notice if you stuck your bum out and pull it back underneath you so your pelvis is right underneath your heart. Exhale, forward fold. Bring it all the way down. Use an entire exhale. Bringing your hands down to your mat. Let your head drop. going to take a few breaths in stillness here, but before we do that, I want you to explore movement. So I want you to explore walking your hands over to the left knee, bending into your left knee, walking your hands over to the right, bending into the right, and that might be it. Just do that side to side. If you have a skandasana in your practice, you can go right ahead. If you have skandasana with binds, you can get crazy. There's no reason to, but you certainly can. When you feel stretched out in the inner thighs, bring it back through center. So come back to that forward fold with your legs wide. And this time, palms down, if you can get there. And let your chin coil to your chest. Keep pressing down through the outsides of both feet. Breathe into those inner arches. When you breathe into the inner arches, they lift up just a little bit. And again, if you feel too much sensation in the backs of your legs, press up onto your fingertips. Make your arms nice and long. Maybe even bend your knees a little bit more. The pose doesn't have to look like anything specific for it to be yoga. Bring your hands to your hips, rising up with a nice flat back here. Tone your belly, pull it in towards your spine. Rising all the way up. Turning your right toes to face towards the back of your mat and moving through that whole thing on the other side. So bend into your right knee here. When you look down at your right toes, you're only able to see your big toe and your second toe. So you can start to really feel the burn in that thigh. Pressing down through the knife edge of your left foot so that inner arch picks up. Go ahead and breathe into that left inner arch. Send your breath there. And taking your gaze over your right fingertips. Breath is deep. Flip your right palm, tilt yourself up and back, legs stay the same. Find your reverse warrior, lengthen out of that right side body. Remember to breathe into that left inner arch, don't let the legs change. Bring it on up through center, straighten that right leg. Trikonasana, turn your left toes ever so slightly so they start to face towards the back of your mat. It's not a full pivot, it's just a little shift. That's exactly what it is. That's how it's defined in the dictionary. Shift your hips all the way towards the back side of your mat, which is actually your front. Shift your hips towards the left. Create space in the right. Right hand down to right shin. Left arm up towards the sky. And you can kind of experiment here with movement. If you let the front of your left hip bone face down toward your mat just a little bit more, you can lengthen that left side of your body. But if you try to tuck that right hip underneath you, you're going to feel this intense pulling and this roundness in the left side of your body. Trikonasana used to be my most hated pose for that reason, because I never understood how your body was supposed to bend like that. But once I found out the anatomy of it, I love this pose. It's such a good stretch. If you did it on the other side, you can release your kickstand, that right arm. Use your core fully and the power of your legs to hold you there for 3, for 2, and 1. Press into your feet, rise all the way up. Turn all 10 toes to the wide edge once again. Bring your hands to your hips. Start to heel toe your feet together all the way to center. step to the top of your mat. Inhale to send your arms all the way up towards the sky. Taking a chair pose, our last hurrah here, heavy through the heels as you bend your knees, as if you're sitting back into a chair. Send your hips back. Keep your heart as high as you can. Exhale, rain it on down. Find a forward fold, send your hips high. Halfway lift as you breathe in. This time, finding a toe squat, just like we did in the beginning. So you're lifting your heels up and bringing your hips all the way down towards your heels. You can keep your hands on your mat if you want to work with balancing. You can bring your hands toward your heart, maybe up over your head. Just take a few deep breaths. And slowly let your booty come down onto your mat. We're leaving our knees bent with the feet out in front of us. Step the feet mat distance apart, be specific. And just let the knees drop over to the left, drop over to the right. Taking it nice and slow, giving yourself a bit of a booty massage here. And release. Sit up nice and tall, both legs out in front of you. Pull your right knee in and allow that knee to open out towards the side. Sit up, lengthen your heart up, lengthen your back body, arms lift up. And as you exhale, fold over that left leg. You can bend that left knee as much as you can. The more you bend the left knee, the more you'll be able to focus on keeping the back body nice and long instead of rounding it. But keep that left foot flexed so we can stretch the calf, stretch the Achilles. Slowly rise on up, switching legs. Send your right leg out, your left leg in. Sole of the left foot to the inside of your right thigh. Sit up nice and tall, lift your arms up. Exhale, rain it on down. Find that forward fold. Your heart is reaching towards your toes. Slowly roll it on up. Keep that right leg out in front of you. I'm giving you a few options here to come into a pigeon pose. First option, taking your right leg, bend the knee, and just swing the leg out towards the side. So the knee's bent and the foot is facing towards the back of your mat. Your left shin is pretty much parallel to the top of your mat. It doesn't have to be perfect. You might feel it here, right? You might feel that right hip dropping down towards your mat. You might just stay and breathe here. Or you can gently fold it on forward over that left shin. Or moving into the full expression of the pose, you can send that right leg fully behind you to find your full pigeon pose. So if you're sending the leg fully behind you, it's the top of the right thigh and the right knee that are down on your mat. So we want that leg to be nice and aligned. I'm going to stay in the modified version for today so that if you need to look at me, you can go ahead and do that. And while you're in this pose, while you're in the stillness of this pose, close your eyes and notice how you feel on the inside. Notice the aliveness that comes with that feeling. Slowly press it on up, and without thinking too much about it, we're just switching sides. So that right leg, left leg's coming up, and now you're lost and you don't know how to get there. Bend your right knee in, right knee out towards the right, and just bend your left knee. Swing that heel by your tush as close as you can get it. Maybe you just walk it forward from here. Or maybe you swing that left leg fully back behind you to find your pigeon pose. Remember, if you're in full pigeon pose, it's the top of the left thigh, the left kneecap, and the left shin that are facing down toward your mat. Breathing into the space within your body here. Slowly press it on up. Unravel yourself. Send your legs directly out in front of you so you can come to lie down on your back. Really winding down our practice here. Take a full body stretch. Reach your arms up overhead. Point your toes. Pull your knees in towards your chest. And give yourself a big squeeze. And drop your knees both over to the right, finding a twist. Allow your knees to be stacked as you let the knees fall over. Reach your left arm out towards the left. Just like our twist in the beginning, let that left shoulder melt down as your heart faces the ceiling. Close your eyes here. Breathing into that twist. Breathing into wherever you feel tightness. Breathing in to the space within your body. Slowly lift your knees up through center. Same exact thing on the other side. Let both knees drop down to the left. Kneecaps stacked so you can really experience the twist in your mid-spine. Right arm out towards the right. Look toward your right. And use an exhale to help melt that right shoulder on down. Keep breathing into that space, breathing into your twist. Draw your knees up through center, extending your legs out on your mat. Don't skip the Shavasana. It is the most important part, and it's almost the shortest part. Letting your body fully lay down onto your mat. And starting to breathe like you just experienced your breath for the first time. How would you act if you just experienced for the first time this life force, this life awakening thing, the thing that literally gives you life? How would you treat it if you first discovered it? When you first discovered it? You would smile with every inhale, with every exhale. It would feel so good. You would take deep breaths. You would relish in every single moment. And that's what our Shavasana is going to be today. Instead of fully letting go, I want you to relish in each and every breath you take for the next minute. Seeing if you can put a little smirk on your face, let the corners of the mouth turn slightly up. Take a few more breaths like this. These happy, beautiful breaths. Bring your hands together to a prayer. Let's take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Bring your thumbs toward your third eye. Your third eye is that space right in between your eyebrows. Press your thumbs into your third eye. And let's take one last deep breath here to end our practice, to close our practice. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Thank you guys so much for practicing with me. Allow your body to wake up, to get up however you need. I apologize that I couldn't get this one on Facebook, but usually they are on Facebook